So now I kind of want to talk about a little bit about doing a little bit of comparison with your incident response tools. And this is where we kind of come into the, the complement between them. So if we were to kind of run that same command before, we were run process listing, you get this output here, right? I'm going to get rid of those virtual addresses. You don't need to see that. And then I'm also going to see from this memory image, I also created a task list when I, oops, let me open that in WordPad, sorry. I also did a task list output as well. So again, just look between those two sides and see if you see anything that's of interest, right? Noteworthy, right? Not necessarily missing, but not necessarily not missing either, right? Something that you think, ignore the task list at the bottom, right? That I needed to run that, so that's being registered by the.
So calc is missing.
So calc is missing from where?
The right side.
Yeah. Does everyone see that? See calc? There's two things on the bottom there, on the in the volatility output, but you don't see calc anywhere over here, right? You'd also notice that you have the BSOD is also not showing up over here.
WUACLT.exe, I think it says.
No, you got that one right here.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that's a Windows. That's a Windows.
NGVDM is showing up on the right side, but not on the left.
Yeah. Yes. That, however, is a Windows executable. I don't know what exactly it is, but that is a legitimate process. But this is all things that are important to note, right? Is that, yeah. H1 isn't showing up as well.
I don't know if the one on the left, but they're all console connections. Like before, they were split. Some are RDP sessions, some are console, unless.
This is a different task list output, so it's this only had one session running on the system. Yeah. But it is kind of interesting because you do get that information from task lists, right? This is why it is somewhat beneficial to have both, because you can see where they were running from, right, more easily than you can in volatility. But the point is that like you guys mentioned a number of different processes, right? Calc, HFBCT, BSOD down there at the bottom. You have all of these processes that are basically not showing up in the task list output. Does anyone have any idea what that indicates?
Well, it hides itself in a rootkit. It
Rootkit,
hides
right?
its own process.
Yeah. And now, anyone have any idea what type of rootkit this is? There's two types of rootkits, right? You're familiar with the kernel mode rootkit, and then there's a user mode rootkit. This is user mode. Why? We'll know that a little bit more in a second. So kind of keep that, right? Keep that in your head, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. But yeah, I don't want to spoil it because I want you guys to see it later on. But it is indication of a rootkit, if nothing else, right? Whether you know if it's kernel or user, that doesn't matter at this point. The fact that processes aren't showing up when we run this command, from the command line, but they are showing up in our volatility output. If nothing else, even if you don't know it's a rootkit, that is suspicious, right? Why am I seeing those discrepancies? And this can give you the ability where now you want to focus in on, I want to look at calc.exe, I want to look at BSOD, I want to look at that HFBCT. Instead of looking at all of these files, or the NTVDM, right? Instead of looking at all of those, now you have a smaller subset that you can focus your analysis on.